Hello, everyone. How would you like to get a little closer? That's right. I'm stuck in this position because of the camera, but you guys are mobile, right? Okay, there you go. Debbie, thanks for being a leader. Oh, that's good, not good enough, Debbie, right over here. Okay, anybody in the back want to come closer? There you go. Well, thank you, everybody. And hello, everyone. And thank you for joining us today. It's always with great pleasure that we're all united to have the opportunity to address you all. As many of you already know, in 2018, we celebrated 35 years of hard work and success. Many activities and initiatives were offered throughout the year to celebrate this important milestone. Among the number of activities planned, one of my favorites was Diversity Day, during which we all had the opportunity not only to share a meal together, but to also learn more about each other and to celebrate this company's rich diversity. And it brings me great pleasure to share these beautiful moments with you. Now, given the significance of our 35 years, and to mark this milestone in pharma sciences history, we decided to wrap up our 35th anniversary celebrations with just one more surprise. Are you excited? Yeah, okay. Excited enough to come closer? Okay. You sure I'm not giving them out these little surprises up? You sure you don't want to come up here? So, but one thing you have noticed, at least in this site at Royalmount, you've seen that black drapes covering the walls in the atrium as you came in. And the time has come now to unveil what's hidden behind the curtain. And I am proud to announce that today we are launching our very own museum here at Royalmount. And we hope that museum will help us remember the key points of our past forever. So I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in producing this creative and unique opportunity to share our memories of the many milestones that we've shared together. And for this occasion, I'd now like to invite my father, Morris, to speak, because without him, none of this would have been possible.
Thank you, David. I would like to personally thank you for your involvement over the past 35 years. This museum could not exist without you. I wish us all many more decades of success. I also would like to thank the team for the preparation of this wonderful museum. Thank you.
Pharma science was started by 4 experienced and mature individuals. Their experience gave them the knowledge to foresee opportunities and to overcome challenges. Their plan followed the traditional entrepreneurial approach, which involved starting with the resources they immediately had. That is, their reputations, business, customer, and doctor contacts, and the ability to develop and register products and to learn patience to see them grow. They then took calculated risk, such as the launch of in vitro fertilization treatments in Canada. Today, we consider this to be a common and required treatment, unfortunately, in some. However, it was not necessarily the case in the 1980s, where there was a lack of understanding of fertility issues and a mistrust on new therapies. Pharma science was committed to experimentation to find new solutions. And this was shown many times in our product development choices, our staffing decisions, and the ventures into new international markets. On their journey towards success, the four founders made sure that every failure became an important learning lesson, and they set up ways to make sure that they would minimize the consequence of any setback. And for those of you who want to see the past, well, we now have this incredible museum. But if you want more details, there's always my dad's book, Creating the Difference. Now, how many of you have read this book? Okay, well, I would have to tell you, those who haven't read it yet, your book reports are due next Monday. However, PharmaScience is not a museum. We're an organic organization that constantly adapts to our changing environments. And I'm here to say that we need to continue to embrace that entrepreneurial spirit that has guided us to this day. In fact, we need to push it further. And you may be wondering why I say that. Well, it's because these principles work now as much as they did before. We need to continue to find solutions that we have. We need to find solutions with what we have instead of spending our time focusing on what's missing. We need to accept the unknown will require us to take risks. We need to allow people to try new things with the expectation that some will fail. And we need to learn from our failures and turn them into future successes. Now you hear more about this from Jean-Guy, Sonia, and Irene. And these principles are particularly important when reflecting upon our tactical agenda, which is ending this fiscal year. The solutions which permitted us to experience our turnaround and new growth were brought upon by our biggest assets, yourselves. Not all the solutions we tried work, but we certainly made substantial progress as we focused on avoiding waste in all its forms. We took a number of chances and will continue to do so. We have demonstrated on many launches that these chances can lead to successes. And we'll also continue to take risks, which we all have done in many areas like this new cannabis testing lab. The tactical agenda is not over. Now it's a time where everything we do counts. And so we need your solutions and your commitment to make sure we succeed in all of our plans. I'm confident that we'll meet our goals, which will allow us to enter the more strategic, but still entrepreneurial phases of our business, and Jean-Guy will discuss this. The old ways are not old-fashioned. The same principles that are driving all the leading new emerging companies that are creating disruption in the marketplace are all following an entrepreneurial approach. Let's take pride in our success, remember the journey taken, the relationships forged, and the change we created. We have kept that entrepreneurial spirit strong, and I pledge to keep it so in the future. Thank you very much.
Logistics. For those who are not in Royal Mount, you can't see that I have little logistics issues. But as I was preparing for the TRAC weeks ago, and someone said, want to be nice and wish me well, so they say, hey, Jean-Guy, break a leg. Yeah, it happened. So more seriously, thank you, David, for your introductory comments. And important, we'll come back to important elements in there. What I wanted to cover today, really jumping into the agenda, is the update on the promotional campaign. Some of you, we have been working on that. It's been part of a conversation that we had inside PharmaScience, and we have done some great things there, and I want to share that with you. Also, we're in the last stretch of the implementation of the tactical agenda, important to us. Development also, now that we're closing the tactical part, we're starting the strategic side of it, but we have two phases, and I'll go a little bit into not too much detail because we want to stay tactical, but just to show you what we're doing, what the organization is doing. Just jumping in on the promotional campaign, as I mentioned, has been something that a lot of employees at Pharmascience have been talking about, that we have to promote more, we have to show ourselves more, and we have to appreciate that the last couple of years we came in from some challenges a little bit, and there were some perceptions out there of challenges, and we wanted to come out bold and show and also position ourselves in the market. We started with the province of Quebec. It was a big part of our share here. So we developed the first part, I would say phase one of this campaign, French, for the French media mainly. I want to say from the get-go that we're also looking at now phase two, also bringing the English content of it as we're going into Quebec for sure, but we want to be the enterprise and the company of Canada as well, and we're going to be pushing that as well. So the team did a great job. I mean, the intent was to obviously the brand awareness, as I've mentioned. Market share was important from a growth perspective and having our trademark known. People know, but we wanted to show how bold and how strong we were. And also positioning ourselves, and you'll see on the next slides, it's in French, but what it says is that we wanted to really put forward the fact that we invest massively in R&D. So we had a legacy over $50 million of investments in R&D, over 1,500 employees in the sites in Quebec that we own, Canada, I mean, Quebec and South Shore as well. Also, we have products manufactured here. The majority of the product we sell or produce here. And if we include packaging, 75% of everything done is in this province. So we knew that nobody else could position themselves in that space. So it was important for us as a business. So I'll show some statistics on that and where we did deploy that strategy, but it created a big buzz in the pharmacy community, and that was the intent. 80% target for us was our customers, pharmacy, and 20% was more consumers in general. So it was really pushed towards pharmacy. Also, what we did is we launched an inspirational video that we did. I think it was important, and David talked about, and Morris as well, about the tradition and passion, and it's about the DNA of our organization. So we thought that bringing the angle of passion and legacy and DNA was important to position the company, and that also was extremely successful. And just before I'll ask for us to show it, but before I do that, I just wanted to show that we had over 182,000 hits on our publicities that we have. Our target was 140,000, so it was really overachieved. And on the video, we had a target of 200,000 people to hit and listen, and went up to close to 200, and we were exceeded 240,000 hits. So really important, and we did this in this segment here. So quite popular, and on that, I don't know, maybe not, some of you have not seen it, so I want to take this opportunity and run the video just for you guys, for all of us, to have this opportunity to hear and listen to this great video. And it's about Morris's story. As David mentioned, without Morris, we would not be here. So please run the video, please. So great video. I want to thank, obviously, a lot of people worked on that, on the marketing side, the teams and PMSC, also in communication as well. And then we had an outside agency as well. So a lot of people put their hands together on that. It was a great event. So we're extremely proud of that. As I mentioned, phase 2 now, we're looking at getting outside of the Quebec market, really on the English side of this advertisement campaign. So we have great concepts. We're looking at ideas and thoughts, and we'll continue the French media as well. So I think it has been good for us. So quite excited there. We did other things as well. So there's other ways also to reach. We did radio campaigns, again on French media. It was in Rouge FM, for which is a radio that covers all the province, essentially. 98.5 was more focused in Montreal. That's where the blitz was. We had over 1.8 million people that has listened to this message. We did some spots also with the capsule that we say, little spots, 15-second spots that we're talking about the local manufacturing and local. It was important also the aspect of having medicine made locally. So that was an important concept for us. 166,000 hits that we have with that first little capsule that we did, and 113 after. So quite happy with that. Also, what we did is we also blitzed, as I've mentioned, our key audience was pharmacy, but we also want to go to the lab techs, because often in pharmacy, the lab techs will make substitution. It will happen, so we wanted them to know about our story about pharmacines. And what we did is we went with their association. We were able to do a blitz and send that video and the advertisement to them. Average data is they open about 12 to 14% that they open this type of information. It was over close to 40%. So we're quite happy. So it did also position us and make a difference. The part that we wanted to do also, as I've mentioned for this campaign, we did a lot of things for the outside world. But I wanted to share with you a lot of things that we could do us and you could do as well to help. So obviously take this information and on your social media also and promote it and push it. That's also super important. But the part that I want you to know is that everybody knows that, even though we did, and our friends in HR did communicate that. But if you go into pharmacy and you ask for a product, and if you ask for a pharmacist's product for your prescription, the medicine will be free. So we're reimbursed the co-assurance, so the insurance, the co-insurance part of it. So the drug is completely free. So it is important. It makes a big difference if you're able to go and make that ask your family members, extended family as well. So I think it does make a difference. So it's important that you do that. And then also another thing that it's important is you need to be able to ask if the pharmacist is supporting pharmacines or they're carrying our product, and have this conversation. Pharmacy are the first line really to the healthcare. So I think it's important that we have this conversation as individuals, as pharmacines, but as patients as well. So it's important. And you need to know that decision rests in the hands of the pharmacists. So mainly in Quebec, they own the store, so they make that decision. And if they tell you, I cannot do that, it's going to cost me more, not true. It's all the same price. Okay, so it is important that you ask. In my experience, because I have done that, I did it for many products, and I've been using a few products lately, and I could say those working on hydromorphone was excellent, very good. So I'm off it, but it was extremely good, well done. And but for the rest of your prescriptions, obviously, you do ask, and often the pharmacist will do, not to lose a patient, because as a customer, he'll bring a bottle in. So the more people that will ask, then it helps us convert, and that's important. So what I want to show here is who are the partners. So those are the ones that we have gained a lot of share back. So I'm just putting the banners, I'm just putting it there. That's fact-based, that's it. So we're over 1,500 extended family. We're talking 4, 5, 6, 7,000 people. So it is important that we know that. And those that we're still talking to them and we're still continuing to increase our position there are the other banners that are there to look at that. It is important that we know that. The main reason in transparency, we have Costco, Family Prix, and Brunet that have been very engaged with us, is the fact with Jean Coutu, Proxime, Pharmaprix, Uniprix, because they have a private label. So when they have private label, they want to push their own product. They will say, if I do that, it's going to cost me more. Not true. Again, all the prices are the same. So you can make that decision, and I'm telling you, they will bring the product in. The last thing they want is for you to go across the street, and that's important. So that's the part of what we can do. We also, at the last track, we did say that we wanted also to show Pharmascience to our main customers. It was important. We did this last fall. We talked about the celebration. David talked about the 35th anniversary. We also wanted to take that opportunity and bring international customers here at Pharmascience. So a lot of people worked at that, plus large customers in Quebec also. We brought them in, and that created a buzz. Right after that, we got some business. So our commitment is quarterly based, more or less. We'll have customers coming back in because it is important. We have something, a unique asset that we have is manufacturing plant in the province of Quebec, in Canada. It is important, and we want to take advantage of that. So we're going to be doing this. That's our best, and mainly to showcase you, because you guys are a great asset as a company, and we want to show that as much as we can. So I want to now migrate to the tactical agenda. David mentioned that we're in the last stretch. I always like, as process, to put everybody back where we fit in this. So we're in Q4 of fiscal year 19. If you remember, we started in fiscal year 18. So 18 months ago, so we went in, we launched the Enterprise Recovery Plan as we had to bring the service level back, if you remember that. We launched the tactical agenda. So we had an ambitious plan that we have, ambitious objectives that we gave ourselves, but we have grown and we are working hard at that, all hands on deck. And as we are closing this, a part of the management, also a large part of the management, is now looking back, lifting the chin and looking a little bit further up. And I'll share that information slightly, but the main focus of this track is on the tactical. But we'll have time to talk the next phase of the business. So on the tactical agenda, I just want to have a little, just coming back in time, customer service level, September 17, really that's where we hit our lowest, really, from that period, and compare vis-a-vis today. So we were at 68%. We have now brought it back to 91%. What I'm using here as a target on the right side is the average of Q3. So why am I doing that? Because our targets at the end is to reach 95% average for Q4. Okay, that's why I'm measuring more in quarters to give us comparators. On the manufacturing cycle, we did tremendous gains on that. So we went from 109 days on our solid dosage form, and we even touched the 35 days target. So we're at 37 average for Q3. So we're progressing quite well. On our steriles also, we have a target of 40 days and we're running at 39. So a lot of gains. Why are we going to be talking about that? You'll hear later on in the presentation, but it's important because the shorter the cycle time, when customer comes and offers us an opportunity, we are able to convert API into finished product rapidly and take the order and ship. If it takes us 109 days to convert, they'll look at us and say, there's an opportunity. I'm too slow. They're going to go somewhere else. So the more agile you are, the more cycle times are, the better you could grow and get share back. That's why we have built that plan. Okay, right the first time is obvious also in regards to cost, and that we have made progression as well. So packaging is doing well, our lab as well. And on the manufacturing side, we dipped a little bit, a lot of exercises being done in there. We're fairly confident that we're bringing this back as an organization, but still some work to do that we have to do in these areas. So it's not a gimme, you have to continue to work, but a lot of activities are out there that are being done. On the plan adherence, that's essentially respecting the schedule, so making sure that we know what we work on, and then we're coherent in that, and we're predictable as a business. Great gains there from 62% to 87%. So we're making great progress. We're improving the fundamentals of our business. And later on, you'll see Sonia talk to you about those why, what are the outcomes. But we had to do this. We had to change. We have to improve the fundamentals. And we did that, and we are doing that. So quite excited about that. So essentially, the plan, that tactical plan, a lot of activities in different areas of the company. So the measurement, it's 14 measurements that we have, and that everybody receive a detailed summary every month. We send you that as a summary. You could go into each KPI. You have that in your inbox. I encourage you to go and see. The summary here, because of the presentation, is you can see we have 6 that we classified green, i.e. that are in the basket. We have 4 that are yellow that we still have some work to do to push. That we have to do, and we have another 4 that are on the red side for which are going to be a struggle to push, but we're not dropping our gloves. We're still in the ring and we're still at it. So overall, when we look at this, you'll see the 6 greens that you will see us pushing towards the end zone. So we're quite confident. Still a lot of work to do. We had an ambitious plan, yes. We have made great gains, but we still have some push and work to do. So there's a lot. Why am I confident that we're going to be able? Our target is to reach 10 out of 14. That's what we're shooting for. Okay. So a lot of plans are in place for the next. Right now, as we speak, a lot of activities are done across the organization to enable us to land and cross that finish line. Okay. But a lot of work, and it's going to be not one department, not one individual. It's going to be done as a group for sure. Okay, and that's how this is done. Talking about examples, and two examples we want to show. The cycle time here, we are doing tremendous gains, tremendous things. We went from 109 to that turquoise line. We went down to 35 in solid dosage form. We're at 39 now. And our sterile also was navigating always under the 40. We had 1 month that we went at 52. We know exactly what that was. Small limits, small production quantity at that month. And it was an external with labels. So we're in control. That one doesn't scare us, but still a lot of work to do. That's the important things that we want to show. One thing that we will do is the reason why we're so proud of that is a lot of people collaboratively came together, are making improvements. So we have a lot of Kaizens running in different parts of the business, a lot of knobs. And then later on, we'll have a little surprise. I'll let Irene talk about that later, because it's not concrete for everybody, these plans, but we want to show a concrete example. So we'll show that later. On the customer service level, you see where we went and how good growth that we're doing. We went from 68, 93% that we're running now. The mauve, how we say mauve? Purple. Yeah. So the purple line, that's really the promise date. That means that if we have a back order and we tell them it's going to be released in 3 weeks, do we hit that promise date? That's what we measure. Okay. That's another important commitment. That's also moving. We're running to have this at 90%. So I think that's also achievable. So we have to work hard. But what I wanted to show here, it's an extra line that I wanted to show, is, as you know, we produce products also internally, but we also do receive products from outside. So parts we have total control, part we have partial control. But on the part we control, you look, the dark that I just added, those are for internal manufactured products. So we're already at the 95%. So just to show that a lot of work that is being done, we are moving the needle as well. Okay, so that's an important thing that we want to see in the big picture. Okay, so we see gain, we see improvements. So just to guess, I mean, I just wanted to show 50 pounds ago, I used to do a lot of sports, and I like to use these sports analogies a little bit. So I just wanted to there's a common denominator with these three teams. Those who are in sports, some will jump obviously in their face, but the Red Sox in 2004, the Flyers in 2010, New England Patriots in 2017. What's the common denominator? All these teams were down 3-0, losing 28-3 in the third quarter. And then it was not one individual. It was a complete team who came together, and all of them really pushed everything and brought it into the end zone. So I'm saying, as I believe that we are this type of organization. We have worked tremendously hard, and we have made great progress. So I really am confident. I know there's a lot of work to be done, but I think that's a great example of great organization, what they can do when they put all their minds and wits together. So that's the process that we have. We're in the final sprint. Only 2 months ago, 10 weeks to go before we close. Six KPIs, in my view, within reach. Stay focused and disciplined for sure. Call to action, just make sure that everybody gets involved. Everybody can make a difference. If there's some doubts, you're asking, what can I do to help? Go up the ladder in your organization, ask what you can do, because we could all contribute into that for the success of the team. So just to close the last part of my presentation, just a brief little sneak peek on the strategy side. So we have pulled a lot of information from the organization. So more than 420 feedbacks that we got, a lot of interviews that we got. So about 80 individuals in the management got together in January. We got all this feedback that we got. And from there, looked at all the feedback from most of you, and the common denominator, and we did share that, was a quest for simplicity. We needed to reduce complexity in our organization. That was a common denominator that was coming back. So we did hear that strong from that workshop. And from there, well, just to put the process a little bit, as I like to do that. So as I've mentioned, we did the recovery tactical agenda, and we're starting this strategic agenda part as we are closing tactical in Q4. So this first part and the phase one preparation that you saw in Q3 and Q4, we are in this right now. So we're getting all the feedback from the individual, and the message that we're going back with this phase one is focusing on reducing complexity. So we're really pushing simplicity and agility into the structure, and we want to make sure that we have innovative ways to look at that in a structured manner. But we're going to be open to see how can we improve and make that quest. The second phase will be for latter years. We will convert this into a jump in aggressive growth from a top line and margin piece as well. So all evolutions that we're doing as an organization. So the feedback that we got, these 80 individuals that got all the feedback from us, essentially we converted that phase one of the strategic agenda more into a journey to a simpler place. So it's a path that we're starting. It's a pharma science path. So we will make that together. We'll grow and we'll continue. It's not going to be short term. We're going to have some work to do, but we believe that this will enable us to bring even more strength into the fundamentals of our business. So we will continue to share this information from you, but we want to build that plan. So that journey to simplicity, that journey to a simpler place. The group came up with 5 pillars that came out. I'm not going to go into the details. I'll be back in the summer with that. But essentially, we wanted to focus on making sure that we become more patient-centric and customer-focused. We have moved away a little bit of that, and we want to come back as we went very operational. So we need to really look forward to our patient and interacting better. Digitally smart, the digitalization is very important as an organization. Software tools, access to information. We have a lot of information. How do we access of this information in a timely fashion is important, and we want to tackle that. And some of us know that. Profitable growth is a must. Top line is good, but we have to have that growth as well, profitable growth. Empowering our people was important for us. So it's more a social promise. We want some thoughts and ideas of how we will work all together. And what will be the purpose? For us, what was important is we're coming here, we have to have a purpose of why we're coming here. It's a business, we do pharmaceuticals, but what's overall that purpose that will attach us all together? And the simplification that I talked about through innovation, that will be important for us. How do we bring agility in the organization? There's a lot of ways of doing this. There's new ways as business. We want to focus more towards processes. How do we work? Our validation team did that. Great work with the validation team, work by process. A lot of folks in production right now in our ops world are working by processes. So we want to look at processes outside of the operational world and see what that means in the rest of the organization and bring simplicity. That's the quest for that. So closing comment. Obviously, we also have Health Canada that we had. Our friends that are in Candiac, we had the Health Canada audit. Successful. So we're extremely happy for that. We had that for our OSD. So very happy. Health Canada is coming next week here at Rollmount. So that will be also another milestone for us. So a lot of work. Quality teams and the supporting teams are on this as we speak. Obviously, focus super important is 2019 implementation, 10 weeks. That's important. Second one also very, very important. And the third, but not the last, very important. We need to close that. And obviously, we have to close on our objectives, our financial targets, sales targets for sure in our budget process. So those are the big things that we are focusing on. And as an organization, we're just finalizing the action plan. What will this be concretely for the first year, for fiscal year 20? And we're going to be excited to come back in July and present to you the strategy side, phase one of our strategic agenda. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be with you. on this first day of the spring, it was the spring today. So the time flies. So we already have 9 months and a half done in our fiscal year. So I'm going to share with you our result versus the budget that we presented at the last track. I'm also going to go through the new product launch, two initiatives driven by the indirect procurement team and the tactical agenda and the financial impact of this tactical agenda. I'm off a slide again on the computer. Okay, so the results so far. So after 9 months, I'm happy to report that we are exceeding our sales budget by $11 million or 4%. Great achievement. It's driven across the globe from all of the regions. Everybody's contributing. So thank you for all the efforts. The only region where we're struggling a bit is the Saudi Arabia because of the embargo that we're facing with Canada. So this I have presented at the last track how we look at our products. So basically our portfolio of product is categorized in three major groups that are fueling our growth. So the first group, which is the core product, has been growing and is now exceeding budget by 5%. So those are the product that we have since a while. And I took a few examples. If you look at Prégabalin is our first product in terms of profit and of sale. And we manufacture this product in Royalmount, and there's such a high demand that we do it every week and sometimes twice a week. Our second product in terms of sales and profit is Cetirizine. Cetirizine is the generic of Reactine, and we were the first to market, the first generic to the market with this product. So why is it important to be the first to market? It's simple. A generic's a generic, all the products are the same. So once we get the first on the market, we run to customer and we sign long-term contracts. So we're locking out the competition for a long time. On terms of transition products, so those products, this group are the product that were launched in the previous year. So they're now running 3% above our budget. One of our very successful product, Nitro Furantoine, which was launched at the end of last year. We were the first to market, and believe it or not, we're still the only one in the market. So this is very successful. We have a high demand, and we manufacture that in Royalmount. No, I said it wrong. Perindopril was launched in March and is manufactured at Royalmount. If I look now at the group of new launches, as you can see, we're very good with our new launches. What we're good at is we've been launching certain product very early and we capture good market share. So if we look at Trandolipril, who's been launched in the month of July, we were the first to market again in this one, and we've been alone for a long time. So now we're no longer alone, but we've signed a lot of contract for this. And this is Tabin. So my friends here at Candiac, you know this Tabin. So this is an injectable that we sell in the US through our partner Mylan. So now I review the contribution of our new product. We can look at our sales. So what happened to our sale? After over a year of decline, we're now climbing and growing. So we are happy by our new trajectory, and we can see that the recovery is really working. So our future is fueled by new product, and I will show you that throughout the presentation. So what's going to happen in the future is that we are doing continuous effort to launch either new product or existing products in new market, and this is going to fuel our future. This is the successful effort of R&D and also sometimes business development, because we also do out licensing. So as you can see, our pipeline is better and better for the next 3 years. Now the profit per bottle, because we want to sell, and Jean-Guy said it, we want to increase our top line. We want to make sure we still do profit with this top line. So I bring you back to last track where I spoke about our profit per bottle. So because of the pressure on the market that the entire industry live, the profit per bottle went down for everybody, so not just us. And so we turned around and Pharma Science said we need to reinvent and transform ourselves in order to be able to pay all our expenses. So if you look here, we can see now we're doing 44 cents a bottle of profit. It's better than we have budgeted. And what's contributing to that is our incremental sale. Also the fact that we are selling in certain area at a higher price than we thought, and everybody's effort to constrain the expenses. And new products are really important to this. For example, Nutro Fur Antoine that I just spoke about, we're doing $4 of profit per bottle. So we're gonna reach this desired state that you said 98 cents a bottle probably during next year. I'm gonna tell you more because we're doing our budget, that's the plan. Now, our simplification journey, as Jean-Guy had explained that in the strategic agenda, we started the simplification. We've already reviewed this initiative, and John Primack and myself had sent an email to all of you at the end of February. We're still discussing and doing our evaluation of this plan, but basically the idea is to go from 226 vendors to one, and from 4,500 invoice to 12 invoice. So that is really simplifying our work. Another very good initiative that I want to present to you now that is driven by this group is the management of our consumable or the supply that is in the lab, the production area, and the warehouse. We're going to use a third-party vendor who's going to manage the inventory for us. One model that we're contemplating are the vending machine. So it's very simple. The employees that are allowed are going to scan their access card in the vending machine, and they'll be given the item they're looking for. So this way, when we do this, we're going to harmonize the type of purchases we're doing amongst all the sites, which will give us a bigger volume to negotiate better price. And the fact that we're using vending machine with access card is allowing us to control the consumption of these consumables. The tactical agenda, we keep talking about this tactical agenda, but is that plan successful? And at the end of the day, we're doing all this. Why are we doing that? Is to make money. So I've extracted certain items to show you that this is increasing our profitability. New product, I've said it and said it, 80 million for the next 3 years, an increase of our market share by 2%. So the increasing market share means if we take all the sales of generic in a certain region of all the competitors together, if I increase 2% means I take it from somebody else, okay? Customer service level went up. So we have less back orders. That means we pay less penalty on back orders. That means that I can also supply good and increase my market share compared to prior year. Cycle time, we're producing faster, so I can sell more and on time when the client needs it. So I've been increasing my revenue by 47 million over prior year. And that also contributed to this increase of our market share. Finally, we're looking to reduce our waste everywhere, whatever it's real physical waste or waste of effort. The destruction area is the area where we're still struggling. We've spent $1 million more than last year in destruction. Give you a flavor of it, this year, in 9 months, we've destroyed the equivalent of $40 million of sales. So this is an area where we're focusing and the teams are looking at to improve going forward. I want to also congratulate now the quality group for their validation activity. They have removed what's non-value added, allowing them to reduce the validation cycle from 126 days to 46 days and from 25 approver to 3 approver. So let's conclude my presentation by reviewing this market share I've been talking about and showing you our recovery. So in August 2016, we were selling 12.5% of the generic on the market. We went down to 9% because of all our problems. Now, without the effort, the work of all of you, we are going back up and we're now at 10.5% at the end of January. Thank you, everybody. Now I turn to Irene.
Thank you, Sonia. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here with you this afternoon. I've decided for this track to go back on events that really marked the last few months since our last track. And also, we're going to touch on service anniversaries. We're going to also look at some training and development. And at the end, we will highlight a team who collaborated together and aligned with the tactical agenda. So last January, we greeted you with some warm coffee. It was a cold winter day. And that morning, when we greeted you, we revealed that Pharmascience was recognized as the employer of choice. As a matter of fact, we did win 2 awards. The first one is the top employer for youth in Canada. And the second one is the top employer in Montreal, in the Montreal area. So often I get asked the next questions. I get asked, so who chooses these winners? And what are the selection criteria to be a winner? Is this important for us to be part, of this endeavor? So yes, it is. And submitting an application to receive one of these prizes is a business decision. And for us, it is important that we validate ourselves against the market and compare positively against other companies on the market. It's certain that having these prizes under our belt helps us attract external talent. But more importantly, is for us internally to develop the pride that we have for working for a top employer. So how does it work really? We submit our applications to a company called MediaCorp Canada. Their responsibility is to review and assess thousands of applications of Canadian companies that offer the most progressive and the most innovative programs. And they evaluate us on 9 categories. So we should be particularly proud this year because for the first time for Pharmascience, we have won not only 1 award, but 2 of them. And there's only 9 companies in Canada that have both of these awards, and one of them is Pharmascience. So this great and amazing news, we've decided to share it, and we're going to continue sharing it on different media platforms. And as you can see with the numbers in red, these are the reach. So the media coverages that we will be pursuing in the next couple of months will be reaching millions of Canadians. So we encourage you as well to share this great news on your social media and within your network of family and friends. So let's go back to the last track when we spoke about service anniversaries. I reminded you at that last track that we wanted to change the way we were celebrating the loyalty of our employees. We wanted to get a little closer. We wanted to have direct contact and recognize everyone. So we moved away from scrolling the names of our employees who celebrate anniversary on the screens at the track, and we introduced the service anniversary cocktails. So you probably saw balloons in the office or in, the plants. And these balloons really, what happened was really a way for us to invite employees to join us to this cocktail. A lot of you shared with me that because of these balloons, you were able to know that people that you work with every day were actually celebrating a big milestone, and it allowed you to have a moment with them and say, hey, didn't know you were celebrating 5 or 10 or 15 years. That's great. So we were really happy with this new formula. As a matter of fact, we have held already 2 cocktails, and we are planning on hosting 2 more cocktails before the end of the year, one in April and one in September. So to date, the feedback is quite positive, and employees seem to be very pleased with this new way of recognizing service anniversaries. So thank you for all of those who participated to date, and we are looking forward to continuing to celebrate these anniversaries with you moving forward. So let's talk a bit about development. We have had a lot of feedback from you, whether it was at the track last time when we asked you to give us feedback through your cell phones, also through our different surveys that we conduct. We understood and we heard that development is very important for you. That's why we've launched a complete training and development schedule. And today I'd like to share some statistics with you. One of our major successes in the training field was to launch Lunch and Learns. This is an opportunity for us to meet with our vice presidents and understand a little bit more where they come from and what their divisions do and contribute to pharma science. So we want to thank each vice president who worked very hard in preparing these Lunch and Learns, and thank you for your participation. And we encourage you to register for these Lunch and Learns, and also encourage you to sign up for other trainings. You know, we offer a variety of training courses, whether it's for Excel, financial planning, your well-being. We encourage you to continue looking at the PMS University and signing up for these courses. And as you could see, since October 2018, we have offered 50 trainings, over 50 trainings, and 900 colleagues have participated in these trainings. So thank you very much for supporting us. So what's coming up in the next couple of months? What do we have coming up? Well, we have coffee chats with Irene and Jean-Guy. You've probably seen the promotions coming forward with this new initiative. What's important for us is really to continue getting closer to you and understanding what's on your mind and having that open dialogue. So Jean-Guy and myself will be visiting all of our sites in the next couple of months. Actually, next week here at Dorval, it's going to be our first session. So we invite you to sign up, and hopefully we'll be able to see you and get to know you a little bit more. Also, as you know, we are currently going through our engagement survey. As you can see, a lot of departments have already completed and have reached 100% of participation. We are very excited to announce that as of this morning, our participation rate is at 95%. This is a record for pharma science. So we're very excited. So thank you for all of those who've given the feedback, and we encourage the others that haven't had the chance to do it yet. There's 9 more days left until the survey closes. So take a few minutes and give us some input. It's very important that we hear what you think and the feedback, because that's how we would be able to transform and make pharma science a more enjoyable place to work at. Oh, Jean-Guy mentioned earlier in his presentation a little surprise. So we're at that little surprise now. What we are going to be showing you here is a video. And it's one of my favorite parts of the entire track. The reason why is because we take the time to recognize our employees. So as of today and moving forward, all our tracks, we will dedicate a specific part of our track to highlight teams that work collaboratively across the organization. So today, we have a team who worked on an initiative intimately linked to the tactical agenda, which I found really was aligned with our objective today, which is tactical agenda all together for the last stretch. So without further ado, let's take a look at the video of a team who worked collaboratively together on a tactical agenda initiative. think you join me in thanking this team for working in this tactical agenda endeavor. So let's, I think this is also a way to see, we often talk about these concepts, right? Kaizen, and what does that do and what does Lean do? This is a concrete example of how in a day-to-day, we can work all together to achieve our tactical agenda objectives. That concludes my presentation. We are now opening up the question session. Thank you. So let's start here at Dorval. If there's any questions in our audience. Yes, can you please get up and go to the mic? Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
There's currently a recall on losartan, and I was just wondering if, or can this have a major negative impact on Pharma Science's financial situation?
Good question. Jean-Guy?
Take that. I think the the whole sartan situation is an industry global situation with the different impurities and testing. It started with valsartan. Now it's in losartan. So for us, it impacted the number of lots. We had over 18 lots that were impacted. But if the question is, will it negatively impact? For sure, we'll have some, but it's not something that will have a significant impact for us as a business. It is important, it's material. But I think in these situations, you have to think about the patient and patient safety. So we have to collaborate with Health Canada on those situations. One key message, it's not about pharma science. I think that's important. It's about the API and the synthesis inside the root of synthesis of the APIs. And all the significant companies in the world are having these challenges. So we're going to be looking at other molecules, sartan as well. You'll hear other companies that will be recalling those. So I think the whole portfolio of sartans is a little bit of a challenge. David, you want to add something related to that?
I'll also say that we're looking at this as a business approach. We want to have good relationships with the suppliers, but being real businessmen, we will work with them and make sure all the cost is not eaten by us. This is important, as we talked about being entrepreneurial. Well, that's one of the characteristics. We'll do this, but we'll do that negotiation with finesse. That's for sure.
Thank you. Any other questions here? Yeah, you do. Go ahead.
At the end of Jean-Guy's agenda tactical, and also at the
Can you speak closer to the mic?
At the end of Sonia's also with the agenda, we talked about the 40 million in destruction and stuff. And I know we have agendas for 2024 and stuff like that, and we're all serious about moving on and stuff. But what are we doing to try to keep that figure down, because 40 million, that's like really going down the drain.
Mm-hmm. Jean-Guy, you want to take that?
Yes, for sure. And in regards to destruction, so what the example of what Sonia have written is vis-a-vis previous years. And then we planned and we were $1 million more. So what she was able to convert is, what does that mean in equivalent of these sales? So that's why we want to do the example. So it's not a $40 million hit. It's more sales that we're the equivalent of sales we're losing. So, but what it is important as in destruction, we're looking at different aspects of it. We have processes in place. We have plans in place in our supply chain family. We have put buckets. So we're looking at our APIs, bulk products that we have. We're looking at aging. Our finance partners are working with the BUs in that. And we're also managing finished product as well. So one of the challenge at Pharma Science, for which is facts, is if you remember, we have lost a lot of sales. If you remember, our market shares were very, very low. And then we had what we call variances vis-a-vis what will be the true share and what product you'll come back. So that's a fact that in 17 and part of the beginning of 18, we have launched production, for which is a reality, by which that sales may or may not happen. So we have to do a micromanaging of that part. So we're going to have to be, for the next 24 months, we're going to have to be very, very attention into managing that, making sure demand is there. So the commercial have responsibility, but supply chain is managing that, partnering with finance, partnering with the business units for the finished dose, and with our ops colleagues and how we procure for the API and bulk. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. It's going to be that's going to be part of the recovery. So when we talk about recovery, share will go back up, but we're going to have to we'll manage the back end because household is attached. So therefore, a lot of inventory, a lot of sales in the world, because same thing, we're going back with markets. So we have forecasts, and there's a lot of variance in forecasts because we have long back order periods. So customers are saying, I'm going to give you the business back. For sure, they're going to give it back, but we're not sure in which product. Okay, so that's why cycle time, again, guys, shorter the cycle time, the more precise we are because we delay the production. The more we are able to delay the production, that means the better we are in forecasting, so everybody looks better. You're doing this on 109 days, impossible. Okay, so that's there. Everything is attached, but there's a fact that we're going to have to overmanage that part for the next 24 months, for sure.
Okay.
Please remember to go take Jean-Guy's message about asking your pharmacist to fill your prescriptions with our products, right? Even more.
We have it.
Other questions you got, Dorval? Yes, one more. Go ahead. Come up. Come ahead.
What I'd like to know, what we at Dorval, customer service, and the guy in the back has to do to be on the next wheel of the next future TRAC meeting. Considering when we have launches, we're always at the very end. That's going to get these products out to our customer and into the facilities we sell to first to get it on the market. We put in a lot of long hours, a lot of overtime with these, launches. So what can you guys do for us? Like seeing how you just did the Kaiser, we want to be up there next.
So you want to be recognized next?
Yes.
All right. I took note of that.
The challenge is up to the organization. We like that.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions of Dorval before we move on to? All right. I think we're done here. All right. Candiac, Sonia.
Okay. Yes, we have a question.
Hi there. Just a quick question regarding what are our plans regarding increasing our market share in the U.S. in the coming months? If we're planning on increasing that, and if so, how would we do that?
So Jean-Guy, you take this one?
Yes, I'll take that one. From a U.S. perspective, as you know, we have a good plan that we have to launch. We're in a B2B, so it's business to business. So we do co-development or contract manufacturing work. So a lot of activities that are happening in the sites right now in the injectable part. Also on the solid dosage form as well. We're very excited. We just signed new partnership that we signed in the OSD. And then our intent is to have the Candiac oral solid dosage form facility approved for the FDA as well. So that will be an extension of our strategy on the OSD for the US market. Short term, it's based on the share we have is based on the performance of our sales partner that we have. So we saw a little bit of decitabine with Mylan, and we have Sulfan as well. So we have products that we have with our partners. So they're going into the cycle. So we're more collaborating with them, but they're the one gaining share. So I think what we will do for the future, it's going to be more complete our development, increase our capacity that we will have for those sites to enable us to expand. But it's going to happen more in the midterm for sure.
Any other question? No, we're done, Irene.
All right, thank you. Royal Mount.
Any question on Royal Mount? Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Long-time listener, first-time caller. But so my question is, I know we were supposed to launch fingolimod last week. So I just want to know what's going on with that product right now.
Well, I think there's, I think Fingolimod was a very interesting story because, you know, the brand company pulled a lot of fast ones on us and they did something that we were very disappointed with and we aggressively fought back. We had tried to launch this, we had notified them that we were going to launch this product over 2 years ago, according to the old regulations. And they didn't take an action against us, nor did they take an action against any of our competitors. And then just at the last moment, they decided to pull a legal maneuver and try to prevent our smooth launch to the market in March. I am very proud. Pharmascience, I would say, is that today, if Fingolimod is the example, we're the only generic company with courage because we showed up in court and we fought that injunction all by ourselves. But I have to say the risk there was a big risk to continue. And so for our own purposes, we've decided to postpone the launch. But I would say everybody should be proud that we showed ourselves as the only generic company ready to take calculated risks and to really show some courage. And that's, you know, I think that's going to be a picture of the future. We have to, there's no longer Apotex, Teva, or other bigger companies showing a pathway. It's going to, I think things are going to be more like this, Pharmascience leading the path.
David just said, I think what's important and we have to be proud of is since we were the only one litigating, everybody had settled and dropped. So essentially the launch date was a significantly later date. So what we were able to do from a government relations perspective, we were in touch with the different provincial payers. So they knew about the whole situation, what Novartis was doing, for which was more gaming the system. And then so we communicated that. We have a lot of allies in there. All our customers know. So yes, we had to do a little delay, but everybody will know that when that date happens, it will only be because of what we did, or else it would have been delayed significantly in years. So we will maintain that advantage and we will leverage that. So what we did, all of us, that will be recognized. So I just want to make sure that it's a delay, but we will not lose the whole advantage and the recognition of the hard work that we did. So we did that.
Any other questions at Royal Mount? All right. Oh, one more?
Yeah, hi, David. You mentioned a little bit about the CBD. What progress have you made in that respect? Is there going to be, I mean, you talked about the bioanalytical lab and anything else more about that?
The cannabis? Yeah. Okay. So right now, that lab that we talked about, you know, it's starting up in, I think, in July. Well, it's up and running now. It's doing it's able to, I think, do tests in a very simple way for 115 odd pesticides that Health Canada has asked us to do. And now we have a few clients doing small jobs, but all the biggest clients in the country have looked at the validation work that we've done. One of them has signed off on it, and you know, we're looking to ramp up the volume in that lab. That lab is expected to do, you know, offer 48-hour service for our LPs, limited our licensed producers, to release their tested products to the market, because one of the requirements is that all this testing for pesticides is done by a third party. So that's the niche that we're going to do, and we're going to build on that for other products. So maybe again, while, you know, if you're not at your pharmacy, but if you're at your cannabis supplier and he's wanting to get his products out to market sooner, please insist on Pharmascience testing.
We have one more at Royalmount. Okay, so I think that sums it up for us. Thank you very much for, oh,
We have one. We have one.
okay, I see.
Quick one. Looking at the process and the plan, we are ending tactical agenda now at the end of fiscal year. 2020, looking into a strategy, does it mean that the tactical piece generally stops and John doesn't care about the service levels? And then the last second question is, what do you think about the international business, growing the international business?
So the good question. The first question is the tactical agenda is closing, yes. And then we had to do a collective enterprise plan as we were facing big challenges. So we had to do this collectively. So that was important that we worked all on that. These KPIs will continue in the different departments, but will they be enterprise KPIs? We'll see. Some will probably continue to be, but not all of them, but they will become central into organization, like in ops, the ops family, John and his team and supply chain and quality. These KPIs will continue to be alive. And as we will do lunch and learns and stuff, they will be very glad to show them and see how we're progressing. But they will be part of who we are and the fabric of who we are, because it is impossible to be successful as a pharmaceutical company if we don't have these key basics. But we're looking at KPIs in our new plan. So to talk about that, so the strategy side, we're doing a phase one on simplicity. Some work will continue. So you may see when we're going to be ready to show the plan. Some KPIs may continue, not impossible, may. We're going to have to make those choices. On your second part of the question, international is key, is important. We have to continue to reduce the dependency of Canada. So for us, it is part of that strategy that we will do. We are looking, part of the simplification, we're looking at what are the appropriate and best step to grow. And sometimes you're going to have to look at, that footprint, how you do it strategically. But internationally, there's a lot of good projects that are running. We're looking at territory expansion. We're looking at Central Europe. We're looking at different areas. Obviously, we know that KSA or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is giving us issues, but this is one of our most profitable business as well. So it will come back. It will come back. So we don't want to lose all these assets. So we'll continue to develop. We want to be strategic in how we develop. We want to be relevant in where we go. And in some cases, we'll continue some B2B and B2C. But that's part of the plan. And the international family is looking at that. And we will be looking forward for their recommendation on that. So key is going to be important for us, extremely important. One more question. Yes, Debbie.
As we continue to navigate through this simpler place and the strategic agenda 2024, is it part of the plan to have some kind of achieving excellence system to maintain this post 2024, whether it's processes we put in place or to not, have a situation where you're reverting back to old habits?
It's a good question. I think it's going to be a challenge that we will all face. We're big believers in having enterprise plans. So we don't want to have segmented strategies because that's where it's not aligned. And then it goes back to bad habits and then you lose one part. So I think it's important that we stay aligned as an enterprise. We are developing that. We showed you some of the pillars, but there's objectives and we will have roadmaps, strategies, and we'll show a lot of details on that. But you saw a simpler place is an overall concept for which means reducing that complexity. So you saw the pillars are all attached to that. So essentially we're forcing our reflection that in the next 2 years, whatever we want to propose, our goal is when we will look the whole enterprise, we will have offered you reduction in complexity, more agility. That's our goal. That's what we need to hit the mark to be able to deliver that. And we want things that will be sustainable for sure. So again, I go back into looking at how we're going to work. We want to emphasize processes. So I think we're looking at different ways to do that. There's many companies that are operating like that. So we want to be innovative. I mean, we want to be out there, but we'll do it in a structured manner way. We'll be transparent. So I think it's, again, we will look at, when we look at one of the pillar to be digitally smart, I mean, we have to look at systems that we have. So how are we going to be doing this? Teams are looking at that, but we will be migrating. You know, there's cloud-based systems, as you know, you have your base and then you migrate in your systems. But the intent for us is to be able to provide, as we mentioned, access. We have a lot of data, making sure we access quality data in a timely fashion. That's what we all want. So we're not going to be going back when we make those journeys. So that's for sure. Thank you.